Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of learning Illustrator. So before starting day 3, let us quickly recap day 2, what all we learned in day 2. So first of all, in day 2 we learned rulers. I am naming it part 1 because there's lot of things I left in day 2 intentionally because I wanted to break it down into 2 days because I thought it might be too much for you guys to take it in one day and that's why I thought to break it in 2 days. So anyways, moving on to then we learned about panel bar, how to arrange or rearrange different panels in panel bar, how to open, close new panels, and then we learned how to open new panels from Windows menu, and we learned how to shrink and expand the panel bar. And moving on, we learned about difference between interspace and workspace. So if you are still confused, interspace includes everything, how it functions. So let's say if you have Illustrator software open and how everything functions and how everything responds on your click comes under interface and how you rearrange all that stuff, how you rearrange your panels or toolbars or how you rearrange everything inside that comes under workspace. Then we learned about workspaces, how to create our new workspaces, how to switch back to existing workspaces, and then in day 2 I intentionally in day 2 I did not cover how to manage workspace. So today we are going to cover that part. So before going to that, let us see what all we are learning in day 3. So today we will learn, first of all we will learn how to manage our workspaces. We haven't learned it in day 2. Then we will learn about Illustrator preferences. Today we will learn two new tools, Zoom tool and Hand tool. Then we'll move on with screen modes, what different type of screen modes we have in Illustrator. Then we learn about views. If you want to create your own views and how to delete them or manage them. And then about rulers and guides part 2. So this is the part 2 which I was talking about when I was saying in day 2. So let us jump back to Illustrator now. So here, let me open new file and click on file, new, or you can either press Ctrl N on your keyboard. Press enter. So coming back to workspaces, here I have these workspaces with me and we learned how to reset workspace and how to create new workspace, but we haven't covered how to manage workspace. So as you can see, I have none of those workspaces which I created in day 2 because I deleted them after I created the video. So let me create some workspaces quickly. You can expand this toolbar and let's say this is our new workspace, which is workspace 1. Name it workspace 1, and again we'll move this toolbar over here and everything is together now. Yeah, everything is together now, and let us name this workspace 2. Alright, so now we can switch back between our workspace 1 and workspace 2. Now I have to reset this workspace 1 because I made change in workspace 1 and then I named it workspace 2. This also happened in day 2. We learned this. This also happened in day 2 and we learned how to reset it. So here I reset workspace 1 and essentials also. Just quickly go back and reset essentials. Okay, so now let's go to manage workspace, and what it does is it shows me all my custom workspaces which I have made. It doesn't include predefined workspaces from Illustrator. Like if I'm going to click cancel right now and see all these workspaces which are defined by Illustrator are not present in here. So here I am only dealing with the workspaces I have made. So let's see what all options do we have here. So first of all, we have all our workspaces listed in this box, and then we have this rename bar over here. We can rename our workspaces. If I'm not happy with this name workspace 2, I can give it a fancy name. Let's say for color artist. So now when I press OK, I can see the updated name over here. So now we have workspace 1, and for color artist, that is workspace 2. Now switch back to this workspace and go to manage workspace. So we have seen how to rename the workspace. Now we have one more icon over here, which is new workspace. Now if I want to create a new workspace, it actually works in two different ways. Let's say if I have any of this workspace selected here and I click on new workspace. So basically it created a copy of that existing workspace. But I don't want that. I want to create an entirely new workspace. So for that, what I have to do is click over here in the empty area and make sure that no workspace is selected right now, and then click on new. So what I get here is untitled workspace 1. This is a new workspace, it's not a copy of any other workspace. So we can again rename it. We can say it demo workspace or something. Yeah, demo workspace makes sense. And OK. So there we go. We have our 3 workspaces listed here. Now, if I want to delete if I want to delete some workspace, then it's as simple as that. We will use our third button over here. Just click on any workspace or select any of the or select any of these workspace and click on delete. So it will delete that workspace for you. Now, if you note that for color artist is my current workspace. Now, if I'm deleting this workspace, it shows me, do you really want to delete currently active workspace for color artist? So this is my active workspace. So yeah, I am sure I want to delete it. So I clicked on yes. And again, demo workspace, let us just delete it and press OK. So here, I don't have any of these workspaces listed anymore. But if you notice that Illustrator automatically switch back to essential workspace. So this is, you can say, a kind of default workspace Illustrator have. So if you lose all your workspaces, it will automatically switch back to essentials. Alright, so after that we can move on to preferences. Let us see preferences for the Illustrator. Now every software has this functionality, or you can say every software has preferences, their own preferences. But it depends from software to software, what all preferences they support. So for Illustrator, we are going to look now. So there are 3 ways to open preferences. One is shortcut key on keyboard, which is Control K. So you can press Control K on keyboard and you get your preference window. Or there is a button over here. So you can either click over here and it will open the preference window. And if you want to open it from menu bar, you can go to Edit, Preferences and click on General or any of them. It will open the same window. The only difference is from here you get this preference selected already, otherwise we directly jump to General. So let us start from the first preference only. Now general preference, we are not going to cover it right now because things will make much more sense when we learn selection tool and we learn how to move things around in Illustrator. Then it will make much more sense to learn all this keyboard increment and corner radius things and scale, stroke and effects. So we will skip it for now, but we will come back to this again. Coming back to sync settings. Now if you have Illustrator installed on 2 machines or multiple machines and you want to copy all your settings from one machine to other, then this can be used. I'm not going to cover this in detail because this includes online process and I'm going to skip it for now. Then we Then selection and anchor display. Again, this we should not cover now. When we learn about anchors, when we learn about anchor points and control handles, at that time we should learn this. Then you will be able to comprehend it better. So let us skip it for now. Again, for type is for text. So when we learn text tool and all, then at that time we are going to cover this. Now you might be thinking, what should we cover in this and what are we going to cover? So this is the thing which we are covering, and there will be furthermore, don't worry. So the units now. So units define the type of units your document is supporting or it is dealing in. So let us say general. So general, it is saying right now inches. So everything I'm doing in Illustrator is supported in inches except few of them. So we will cover to that. So where we can see this unit change and all. So let us press OK right now, and I will quickly draw a rectangle over here. So if you note at the bottom right of my cursor, there is a width and height. So it says 537 IN. This is inches. So this is the unit which we can modify from preference panel. Also height, it says 4.21 inch. So this thing we can modify. So when I release it, and again here on the top in option bar, you can see it says 3.99, X is 3.99 IN, that is inches. Width, Y is 4.7088 IN, that is again inches. Width is 6.1954 inch and height is 4.7441 inch. So this is the basic unit which Illustrator deals with in inches. Now we have freedom to change it. So let's say we press Ctrl K again and we go back to units, and from here instead of inches we can select pixels. So let's say I select pixel and click OK. So you can notice all these values, all these units have changed. From IN it has changed to PX, and PX stands for pixels. Now if you would have noticed, along with my units, my value also has changed. So I will show it to you again. Let's press Ctrl K, jump back to units, and instead of pixels, now select inches. Now if you see here, it is 287.629 px. So let us press OK and let's see what all changes are we getting here in x value. So press OK and see my unit has changed to IN, but my value also has changed to 3.9949. So it is a good thing that Illustrator is already taking care of the values conversion. Otherwise, you have to do it manually by yourself, and it would be a lot of pain to change every single value in Illustrator. So Illustrator automatically changes the values according to you. So you don't have to bother about that while changing it from preference panel. Alright, so let's come to second thing, which is stroke. Now stroke is something which is called outline, or now stroke is something which is called outlines. So if you have a rectangle or a circle, then there will be outline. So let's say if I have a rectangle over here. So there are two parts. One is inside this, which is called fill, and second is outside, which is called stroke or outline. So right now the default unit is points. So let us say over here we have 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, all these things are in points. So this is actually stroke. It says stroke panel and stroke is 1 point. So we can change this unit. From here, if we go to inches, or let me say pixels again. So it says 1 px now. This hasn't changed. I don't know, maybe it's some kind of bug, but here we can see our value changed. And now let's get back to units and see type. So what is this type now? How does this and where it applies. Now again, like I said, type is for text. So if we change something over here, first of all we need some text to see whether this unit conversion is actually doing something or not. So let's say I just type something Illustrator day 3, and let me just expand it or scale it a bit so it's visible to everyone. Okay, and now here we can see we have our font which is in px pixels. So this font size is in pixels right now, and let's press Ctrl K, go back to units and see type. The unit for type is pixels. So we can change from here to millimeter, inches, point, or whichever is comfortable to you. Let us say we switch back to inches and press OK. So again my value has changed to 1.151 and my unit has changed from pixels to inches. And all this now comes back in inches. It's only with the stroke which doesn't reflected values over here when we change the unit from pixels. When we change the unit to pixels, I think it's some kind of bug. But anyways, we'll move on to that. But anyways, let's get back to type. So here we have our values and units change. Alright, so now go back to unit, and we are not going to cover this identify object name by object name or XML ID. That's too much of technical stuff. I'm skipping it. Now next, guides and grids. Now before learning that, we should know what is grid. So let us quickly see what is grid. So I'll just press OK, or just go back here and reset all these things. Reset this to points and press OK. So let us see what is grid first, and then we will go back to its preferences. Okay, so to bring on the grid, the shortcut key is Control and double quotes. So this will bring on the grid. Now you can see, now it is very obvious what grid does. It gives you grid on the document, so you can align everything according to your grid. Or you can have a margin around your document, or if you want to align few things, then it is very helpful. The grid is very helpful in that case. So the shortcut key again to showing on or off the grid is Control and double quotes. So this is like a toggle switch. So when you press it once, it will show the grid, and when you press it again, and then grid disappears. Or you can go to view from menu bar, you can go to view and hide grid. That says the shortcut key is Control plus double quotes, so it's the same thing. So either we can switch it on or off from here, or we can use keyboard shortcuts. So I am more comfortable with keyboard shortcuts. It depends from person to person. You might have your different opinion, so that's perfectly fine. So let's say we turn on grid right now. We have other settings also, like snap to grid and snap to point. What are these? We will come to that. But right now we'll just see what is grid and how to switch it on and off. Now let's jump back to preference panel and switch to guides and grid. Now we have our guide selected. Now what we have is we can recolor our guides, and we can redefine the style. We can redefine their style. So first of all, let's go back to guides first, and then we'll come back to grid. So to hide the grid, the shortcut key is Control and double quotes. So, and let's bring some rulers. Control R to bring up the ruler, and we will create some guides over here. So just click and drag on ruler, and it will create some guides for you. There we go. We have few guides over the screen now. So let's see what all options do we have for this. So like we can see here, we have a color for these guides, and right now it's cyan, so it's all it's the same color in the background. So we can change this color to anything else. Either you can click over here and select some predefined colors, or if you want to be more specific, then you can click over here this color box, and it will open a color window, and you can go in more detailed color form, let's say something like this, which is not present in preset directory. So yeah, once I change the color, I can press OK, and this will change the color. Now I haven't selected any different color than that, so let me say I select red now. So this is how it changes my guides. So next, if I am to change the style, let's say I don't like these sharp lines and it's interfering too much with my design. So let's change this to dots. So from lines, I have changed this to dots and press OK. So what we have now is we have like dotted lines. Let me zoom in so we can see it clearly. So all I have now is this dotted lines over here. I no more have those straight lines, and again it depends from person to person what type of guides do you prefer. I prefer lines more than dots actually. It's just a personal choice, nothing more, no technical reason for this. So we can switch back to cyan, the default color, and press OK. Now let us clear all these guides. So view and go to guides and clear guides. Now we will come back to all these options in today's video itself. In the last part, we will cover all these guides and grids. So don't worry about that. Now let's show grid over here. Press Ctrl double quote and press Ctrl K to jump back to preference panel and switch to guides and grids. Now we will see what all options do we have for the grid. So first of all, the color is green. So again, I can change this color to anything else. Let's say for this one I choose yellow and press OK. So I have my yellow color reflected over here. Now it is not very much visible on the artboard. So I might want to get some color which is visible clearly, because otherwise I will be struggling too much to see guide itself. So let's say it's light gray. So this is the default color Illustrator has, and it makes sense. Now again we have option of lines and dots over here. So we will cover to this in a while. First of all, we will see grid line, every, and subdivisions. So grid line, it says grid line every 1 inch. That means for right now just turn subdivision to 0 or 1. The default is 1 minimum value. So here you can see actual grid which I have. It says grid line in every 1 inch. So this is actually 1 inch, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a grid line at every 1 inch. Now further on we can change this value. If we change it to 2 inch, so you can see our grid size has increased to 2 inch, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. Now again we can subdivide this thing. So let's say subdivision is like every box. If I take this box, in how many layers I want to divide this. So let's say if I want to divide this box into 3 more subdivisions, so press OK. And now you can see, let me zoom in. So this dark line is our grid lines, and this lighter lines is subdivision lines. So it divided every grid box into 3 subdivisions. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. And if this is horizontal, if I am to look vertical, then this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So it divides horizontal and vertical equally, because the grid is square always. In some software you can change grid to rectangle or other shapes, but here we have square grid, so that's okay. Press Ctrl K again, go to guides, and here we can change, let's change it from 3 to 8 and press OK. So we have our grid, our more dense grid here, you can say. And now you can see if I zoom in here, and you can see I have 8 subdivision levels now, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. The same applies for horizontal subdivision, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So let us jump back over here, and let's change this value to 2, and I'm again going to change it to 1. So this is how we can rearrange our grid in Illustrator. Now we will come to this lines and dots. Now if I switch back to dots, you will notice something, that your lines has disappeared. Actually, it didn't disappear, it is actually these dots are over here. Let me change the color so that it's more visible over white. Let's change it to red. It's still not visible very much, but these are the lines actually. I'm to draw a guide over here. So over here we have our line, and what it does is it creates a point at every intersection. So it would be better if I draw it for you. So let's say this is our guide. So let's say this is our guide. And right now I'll just hide the guide. The dots are behind it. So now we'll divide it in subdivision levels also. So first of all, make a line over here in the center, and it's not exactly at the center. So we should change the color for this one to red. This is for subdivisions. Again, copy this and create vertical subdivisions. Yeah. So this is how my grid is. Let's say this is for every 1 inch, and red line shows my subdivision level. So right now I have 2 subdivision levels. 1, 2. That means my grid box is divided into 2. My grid box is divided 2 times horizontally and vertically. Now when you switch back from lines to dots, so what Illustrator does is it creates a dot at this point. So here it will create a dot, and here it will create a dot, here it will create a dot, here, and then few small dots over here, 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 and here. There will be no dot in the center. So when you switch back from line to dots in in grid, then you might find it difficult to actually see what is actually going on. So if I move all these things, or if I delete all this stuff, then this is how your guide will look actually. This is how your grid will actually look. So let us switch back to our grid, and this is what has happened over here. So this is actually very hard to see. That's why I drew this example, that this is how the grid works, and it will be more visible when we increase number of subdivisions, because this will increase the small dots. So let us say instead of 2 we increase number of subdivisions to 10 and press OK. So now you can see all these so many small dots over here, and then there is one little bit of darker dot, and then again lighter dots, and again darker dot, and again lighter dot. So this is how our grid works. So Again, go back to grid and guides and switch back to lines. For grids, for grid, definitely I prefer lines over dots because dots just doesn't make any sense over here. And change this color to gray so it is more visible and it is better looking also. Alright, so press Ctrl 0 to switch back to switch to full screen mode. Press Ctrl 0 for fit to window and press Ctrl double quotes to hide our grid. Okay, so enough with guides and grids. Now let's go to next preference, which is smart guides. Now smart guides again we will cover when we actually learn how to transform things. At that time we will cover smart guides. So now slices, you actually create slices when you create some web designs or when you create some web layout. So there you divide your web layout into slices. So it's just saying the color for the slices should be red and so show slice number. So these are the only two settings we have. Right now we don't have any web layout with us, and it will make much more sense when we cover something in web and then talk about slices rather than just talking right now. So let us switch to plugin and scratch disk. Now it says scratch disk startup CDE. So you can select your scratch disk, which is the backup disk actually, from where you want to keep your backup. So it says startup. So startup is, so in which drive your Illustrator is stored, that is being considered as a startup. And then you have secondary selected none. So it's okay right now. And now this is important, which is user interface, because this has actually some visible settings and you might want to tweak it around for your personal preferences or personal choices. So user interface, let's go. So here we have brightness and it says medium dark. So I can change this color. Let's say I want to change it to dark. So you can immediately see the result. You don't have to press OK or anything. So if you are old school user of Illustrator and you are running Illustrator from CS or CS2 or CS3 version, you might want to use light settings because that time Illustrator had this kind of look. But right now they switched to this medium dark. For me, medium dark is just fine. Even darker is fine. It doesn't make any difference. But it depends on you. So we have 4 options over here, 4 color schemes over here. And if you want to go into more precision level, then you have slider over here. So you can switch your color or you can switch your grayscale level from here, or even lighter and lighter. And yeah. So let us switch back to medium dark or medium light also, but anyways, I switch back to medium dark, and there we have a canvas color now. Match user interface brightness or white. So match user interface brightness means this one. So if I go back to light, so this canvas color has changed to a light gray. Here it has changed to a dark gray, and here again you can see the change in color for the canvas. Now when I click white, it completely turns into a white color. Actually I don't like white over here because when it is gray, it makes a solid difference between the artboard and the canvas, so it is very prominent. Otherwise it's not much of a difference over here. I prefer gray over white. So again, it's a personal choice, so you might want to switch to something else. That's completely fine. Now we have this option, auto collapse iconic panels. So what is this? Let's see. So for that we need to open some panel over here, and we already have this color panel open. So right now what happens, how it behaves actually, when we click on panel, so it opens the panel and we do all our stuff over here. We draw some lines and circles and we paint something, and when our work is done, we again click back to this icon and again it closes. So let's go back here to user interface and let's check auto collapse iconic panel and press OK. So this time what will happen is, if I click on color, or it opened and I selected any particular color from here, and when I draw something, it automatically disappears. So basically, whenever I click outside this panel, it disappears. So if I am clicking inside it, it's perfectly fine. But whenever I click either on the top or outside this panel bar, outside this panel, so it disappears automatically. So this is the change it brings when I check it on. So let's uncheck it and open document as tabs. Now what is this? So let's say we go back to this document. Now this is tab actually. We have covered it in first day. So this is tab. So whenever I create any new document, let's say I created a new document and it opened as a new tab here. Now let's go back to settings. It says open document as tab. So we uncheck it right now and press OK. Nothing has happened, but when I create a new file now, so it opened as a separate window instead of a tab. Now we actually can drag these tabs and we can create window out of it. Now no, and let me close all these files and here also close this file and create a new file. So every time I create a new file, it opens as a new window instead of a new tab. Now if I want to create tab out of this, it's very simple. You just have to drag it on the top and it shows a blue rectangle, blue border kind of thing, which is for docking, and when you release it, it docks. Just like our toolbar and panel bar. The same way this window also behaves, the same exact way. And I can keep docking all these windows. And here I have my tabs. But the question is, if you really want tabs, then there is no sense of unchecking this. So let's just check it back and say OK. So whenever we create some new file, it automatically docks back in tab bar. So yeah, that makes life much easier. Alright, so we have all files closed and press Ctrl K and let's see what all settings we have left. And then it says scroll buttons at two hands together. Now what is scroll button? These are the actually scroll buttons we have. This top one, this bottom one, this left, this right one and this left one. So right now they are separated. They are at the top and bottom, or at the two ends of the scroll bar, which it says at two ends. If we switch it to together, that says changes will take effect the next time you start Illustrator. So we have to restart Illustrator for that. So just note that we have our scroll buttons over here, and let's quickly restart the Illustrator and we'll see what all changes do we get. So clear clipboard for right now, and again open Illustrator. It's loading, and there we go. File, new, OK. So now if you see, we don't have a top scroll button over here and the left scroll button over there. This is for selection. This is not a scroll button. Instead, we got all our scroll buttons at the bottom right corner. This is for left, this is for right, this is for up, and this is for down. Now I don't like this kind of layout for scroll buttons, so I'm just gonna go and switch back to this. So again I have to restart the Illustrator for that. That's absolutely no problem. And I just restarted it, and so we have our scroll buttons back in position. That's perfectly fine. Now file handling, let's go back to file handling. So We have few options here. Use low resolution proxy for link EPS or display bitmap as anti-aliasing images in pixel preview. For right now, just don't modify the settings and update links and ask when modify. We will just leave the settings for right now because the settings doesn't make any sense. Even if we cover it right now, it won't make any sense because we haven't learned enough in Illustrator. So we will switch back. So we'll skip to next setting, which is appearance of black. Now we have two kinds of black here. This is 100K black and this is rich black. So right now it says on screen display all black as rich black. That means this one. And output or printing, when we are printing or exporting as images or something, it says output all black as rich black. So again we have this black selected by default everywhere. So let us press OK right now and we will see what do they mean by rich black and how can we see it on the artboard. So let me draw a rectangle really quick. So we have our black over here. Now you can see this. Let me zoom in. So we have a clear visual to this. And I have two rectangles over here. And this is actually rich black right now. But we won't notice a difference unless we have our both rectangles or this kind of two colors at the same place. So now let's switch to or display all blacks accurately. So this is 100K black and press OK. So immediately you would have noticed that our color changed, and if you don't, then we'll change color for this one. Now open the color palette and here we have this black selected instead, whereas it should go to this place at the bottom left. And when I press OK, so you can see this color is much more darker compared to 100K black. So right now our display mode is set to 100K and we changed color, and still we can change the color. I mean it doesn't stop us from changing the color to 100K. It doesn't stop us changing from changing black color to rich black. We can still change the color, but by default whenever we select a black or whenever we draw something in black, it's going to be 100K black, and later on you can change the settings or you can change the color. So let us go back and again switch back to display all black as rich black and press OK. So it again switched back, and now you can see there's slight difference over here. This is actually lighter color than this. So you can go and change it over here. So every time I change the setting of black, it automatically adjusts some value over here. So this is what I have to make sure that don't do this in between the document or when you have your file in between. Don't change that setting at that time. Either do it in the beginning when you are just about to create your document or you haven't started anything on your artboard, or when you have finished. If you change it in between, it might change some colors and everything, and you might have to recolor everything again. So just a piece of advice, nothing else. So there we have covered all our preferences, and next we are going to see hand tool. To select hand tool, we have to click over here. We have to select it from toolbar. There is a shortcut key for this also, which is H. So either I can press H on my keyboard to select the hand tool, or I can click on this icon, this hand icon. This also selects the hand tool. Now when I select the hand tool, let me switch back to selection, and when I press H, it changes my cursor to a hand. So the same thing happens when I press spacebar. If I press selection again and let's say I press spacebar, then again it changes to hand. This time I have to hold my spacebar and then I can move around. But when I am using the hand tool, I do not need to press spacebar. I can just drag and I can navigate around my canvas. So this is the advantage of this tool over spacebar, that you don't have to keep pressing spacebar when you move. You can just keep your hand relaxed and select hand tool, and you can move around. Just use left mouse click and drag, so you can navigate around your canvas. So this is another way of navigating. Like I was saying on the first day, in this software you will find many ways to do a single thing. So this includes one more way of navigating. Now we will see what all ways do we have for navigation and zooming by the end of the video, or by the end of these two tools itself. And this is with the hand tool. So now let's see the zoom tool. So below hand tool we have zoom tool. So we also have a shortcut key for this. Either I can click on zoom tool icon, or I can press Z on my keyboard. So both selects the zoom tool. Now I have this plus icon in the middle of a magnifying glass. So when I click, I zoom in. Now you won't be able to see much difference because I haven't made anything. So let me just turn on the grid so it will be visible here. So press Z to select the zoom tool and click to zoom in the document. Now what if I want to zoom out? Because every time I click, it zooms in. So to zoom out, you have to press Alt, and notice my sign has changed from plus to minus in the magnifying glass. When I release Alt, it again switches back to plus. So keep pressing Alt and left click to zoom out. And there I have my zoomed out document. I can press Ctrl 0 to fit to screen. Now the advantage of the zoom tool, you might ask that the same thing I am doing with keyboard. So why do we have a entirely different tool for it? So this has a certain advantage over keyboard. This tool has certain advantage over keyboard. Let us quickly draw something over the artboard, so we have something to talk about. Let's say I'm making something like cloud here. Okay. So now I have two objects over here, or two groups of objects over here. And if I want to specifically zoom on to this thing only, then I can just click and drag with my zoom tool, and it will zoom in to that particular area. Let's say if I'm zooming into this part only, so it zoomed in to this particular area. Now if you are to do this with keyboard, you have to press Ctrl negative or positive and then just hold space and move around. But with this tool you can just do it at once. Just drag, create a rectangle, and there you have your view zoomed in. So let's press Ctrl 0 and switch to fit to screen. Now this adds another way of zooming in and out the document. So let us see what all ways we have to navigate the document first. So first of all, we have spacebar. We can press spacebar and click and drag to navigate around. Then we have our scroll bars, horizontal and vertical scroll bars. The limitation with this is we can only navigate on a single axis at a time. Either we can navigate horizontally or we can navigate vertically. Then we have this navigator window and navigator. So we can click and drag over here, and this is another way of navigating our document. And then we learned about hand tool. So we can press H and we can drag on the document itself or on the artboard or canvas to drag around or to navigate. So we learned 4 ways just to navigate a document. Now let's see how many ways we have to zoom in and zoom out. So first of all, we learned to zoom in from here. which is right now it is 93%. So we can switch back to any zoom level from here. Let's say 50% or 100%. So this is one way of zooming in, zooming out. Another way we learned is control negative on the keyboard and control positive on the keyboard. So you have to keep pressing control all the time and either press control negative key or positive key on your keyboard and control 0 for fit to screen. So this was the second way. The third way was from here, from the navigator. You can click on this icon, the big mountain or the small mountain, and you can zoom in and zoom out from here. Again press 0. And the fourth one we learned is zoom tool, which is press Z to select the tool and then click to zoom in and left click Alt plus left click to zoom out. And then again you can just click and drag to draw a rectangle and it will zoom into that particular area. And press Ctrl 0. So have we missed any zooming options? I think no, we haven't. So alright, so 4 ways to navigating and 4 ways of zooming. So you can see that only for these two things we have 4 ways. So when you come further and we start drawing and making things, so to produce a particular kind of output, you might have thousands of options to do the same thing. So it's okay to stick with the approach or try different approaches. It's completely fine. Alright, so the next thing we are going to see is screen modes. So to switch screen modes, we can either press F key on your keyboard. So F is a shortcut key for screen mode. Or we have an icon over here at the bottom of our toolbar which says change screen mode. The shortcut key is F listed here. And let us click on this icon and see what all screen modes do we have. So one is normal screen mode, second one is full screen mode with menu bar, and third one is full screen mode. So right now we are in normal screen mode, and let's switch to this one, full screen mode with menu bar. I'm just gonna click on this and see what happens. It's hard to notice a difference right now. So we have a tab bar over here and we have a plus, minus and all these icons, and see our tab bar disappear, and our this top controls, workspace and all those also disappear. Minimize, maximize and cross button also disappear. And then we have another screen mode which is called full screen mode. So if I click over here, so everything disappears except your canvas. So this is a good option if you want to preview or if you want to showcase your work to your client or your manager. And when you again start working, you can again press F to switch back to normal screen mode, Control 0 to fit to screen, and again start working over here. So F actually cycles between screen modes. So every time you press F, it selects next screen mode and then next, and then again first one and then second one and then third one. So right now we have our this screen mode selected. Let us press F. So we switch back to full screen mode. Again press F and normal and again full. So it works like that. Okay, so with screen modes covered, let's see what all views can do and what actually view is. So to create a view, we have to go into view from menu bar, and at the bottom we have two things here, new view and edit view. So let us see what new view does. So first of all, I have the screen selected and I have the zoom level. Okay, so view and new view. And now it is asking me to create a name. So I'm saying 100% zoom. And it's not 100% actually, it's fit to screen. So let's say fit to screen and OK. Now if I am working on this part again and again, it is a good idea to create a view so that I can switch back to this quickly. So let us click on view again and say new view, and I'm naming this one to CLOUD cloud and click OK. And again press 0, control 0, and zoom into this shape over here. So yeah, I just zoomed in, and I'm going to name it another view, which is what should I name this? Abstract. Let's say abstract, but I don't have a name for this. ABSTRACT, abstract, and press OK. So now we have our three views over here, which is fit to screen, cloud, and abstract. So let's see what this view now does. So let's click on fit to screen. So it fits my artboard to the screen, or my canvas to the screen. Now again I can go and switch back to abstract. So there I have my abstract art in focus. If I click on cloud, then I have my cloud in focus. So what it does actually, it maintains your zoom level on how much percent, or the navigation also, I think. Does it maintain the navigation? So let's keep it over here and create a new view, and let's say left aligned, and press OK. So first of all we should click on fit to screen view, and then we will see left align. So yeah, so view manages two things. First of all, it manages your zoom level, then it manages your navigation. So where all you have navigated. So like here we have created 4 views. So let's say if you are working on a project and you are switching back and forth again and again to here, you are zooming in and here again and again over this cloud path. So it is a good idea to create a view of this, so you can quickly go back here and switch to cloud, and quickly press Ctrl 0 or something to switch back to your full screen, or sorry, to fit your artboard to the screen. So this is how view can be used. And then we have this edit views here. So like we saw in edit workspaces, it's the same thing. You can click on any of the view and you can rename it. And here we don't have a new icon over here. We cannot create new views from here. Only thing you can do is rename and delete views. So let us just first of all, let us try renaming something. We'll rename this cloud and RENAMED. I just renamed it. Press OK. So click to view, and we have our cloud renamed, the updated name over here. That worked really great. So click on edit and let's delete. Now deleting is very simple task. Just click on any of the view and press delete. So click on the view and press delete and press OK, and there we go. We have all our views deleted. So we have no more views. Alright guys, so this is it for day 3. I know we were supposed to cover guides and rulers in this video also, but we are running out of time, and there is just too much of stuff going on in a single video. So I am thinking to leave it for this video, and we will cover it in day 4, so that you will be able to understand it better. And with this I will close this video. I see you in my next video. Goodbye.